Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News and your daily wrestling newscast for Tuesday, September 27th, 2022. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin with Monday Night Raw, which aired live last night in North America on the USA Network and Rogers Sportsnet 360 and emanated from Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta. In the main event of the program, Matt Riddle rolled up Damian Priest after an attempted distraction by Priest's fellow Judgment Day member Finn Balor backfired. As soon as the match ended, Balor along with Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio joined Priest in beating Riddle down until Edge made his return to make the save. Injured in storyline 2 weeks ago by the heel faction, Edge speared both Priest and Balor, with Ripley saving Dominic by pulling him out of harm's way. The native Canadian then got on the mic to challenge Balor for an I Quit match at Extreme Rules.
Riddle! That's it! Riddle pulled it off! And now the Judgment Day pouncing all over Matt Riddle.
No rest for the weary. A shocking upset for Matt Riddle on Damian Priest, and now the Judgment Day forcing the original bro to pay.
Sending south of heaven after the match.
You think you know me?
Oh! Judgment Day better get out of their spear! Eyes on Dominic! Vengeance on the menu for the winner of Superstar! One this time for Finn Balor!
You have tried to finish me over and over again, but I always come back! You see, I don't quit. So, Finn, I'm gonna challenge you at Extreme Rules. For the first time ever, Edge versus Finn Balor. In an I Quit match.
Candace or Larae made her Raw debut by defeating Nikki ASH with a pin following a swinging neckbreaker off the middle rope. Larae gave birth to her and husband Johnny Gargano's first child on February 17th and hasn't been in action since July of 2021 when she and partner Indy Hartwell lost the NXT Women's Tag Team title to Io Shirai and Zoe Stark. Gargano re-debuted on the Raw brand last month after not wrestling since December of 2020. During that time, in addition to having a daughter, Gargano also signed a new multi-year contract with WWE. After the match, ASH was shown in the ring dejected as she took off her mask. SmackDown's Sami Zayn defeated AJ Styles with the Helluva Kick, following Zayn's distraction of the referee, which allowed his Bloodline backup Solo Sikoa to hit Styles with a Uranagi on the apron. Earlier in the show, and for the second straight week, Finn Balor approached AJ Styles about joining up with Judgment Day. Styles refused. After the match with Zayn, the entire group came down to the ring and once again encouraged Styles to join them. Styles gave Balor the middle finger, which led to a beatdown. Balor put a steel chair around the head of Styles, threatening to Pillmanize him, but stopped short and instead quipped, "That's not what friends do."
Styles caught himself on the apron.
Sammy with a fistful of AJ's hair.
Got a 5 count. Nearly got disqualified.
Solo Sikoa! Oh my God! Uranagi on the apron. Styles is down, potentially out. Paying dividends to Sami Zayn. Helluva Kick. You can count to 30.
AJ, it pains me to see you like this, bro. And I can't help but think that if you had have accepted our earlier offer, that the outcome of this match may have been a little bit different. I'm asking you, as a friend, to rise up and join the Judgment Day.
The five-man defeat. Styles refusing to join the Judgment Day, and now Styles being assaulted.
You could have ended your career, AJ. I could have ended it all right now. But I'm your friend. And that's not what friends do.
The Judgment Day faction had a busy night as they also made their presence felt at ringside during Seth Rollins' victory over Rey Mysterio Jr. Earlier in the show, Mysterio again insisted that he would never fight his son. That played into the finish as Dominic came down to the ring to distract his father with a steel chair, which allowed Rhea Ripley to shove Rey into the ring post. Rollins followed up with the curb stomp and a Peruvian necktie that put Mysterio to sleep. Other matches saw Kevin Owens and Johnny Gargano defeat Alpha Academy. Omos beat local enhancement talents Joey Gibson and Greg Lester after pinning Gibson following chokeslams on both men. And in the match that opened the program, Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair defeated Io Sky in a non-title match. The match was impromptu after Belair came out with Asuka and Alexa Bliss to talk about her upcoming title match with Bayley at Extreme Rules, to which Bayley and her Damage Control teammates Sky and Dakota Kai came down for their response. As Hurricane Ian continues to rapidly intensify, AEW President and CEO Tony Khan announced late Monday night that any personnel who may be affected by the storm can take this week's television off. Khan's tweet posted at 11 p.m. Eastern last night read, "For everyone in AEW, in case you missed our email, anyone worried about Hurricane Ian affecting your travel or home or your family life, it's voluntary to come to TV this week. Anyone affected by the hurricane can take care of business at home, and we hope to see you all next week." Hurricane Ian quickly accelerated from a Category 1 storm to Category 3 early this morning, and as of press time, contained 125-mile-per-hour sustained winds. The storm is tracking to come ashore on the west coast of Florida, somewhere near the west central Sun Coast, as soon as Wednesday evening. The National Hurricane Center is expecting Ian to strengthen into a Category 4 storm as it passes through the Gulf of Mexico with sustained winds between 130 and 156 miles per hour possible. The entire state of Florida will be affected, with all of Central Florida looking like it will take the brunt of it. In a follow-up to a story we're continuing to cover here at the Wrestling News, reports of Swerve Strickland being approached by WWE were corroborated in a story filed yesterday at Fightful. According to the report, Strickland referred WWE officials to his attorney and was not interested in returning to the company. Rumors of WWE's interest in Strickland returning coincided with Paul Levesque's elevation to the head of creative. Levesque was in charge of NXT when the Hit Row faction was born and reunited the rest of its members, B-Fab, Top Dollar, and Ashante the Adonis, on SmackDown earlier this month. The entire faction, including Strickland, were let go by WWE under Vince McMahon in November of 2021. It was reported last week that Strickland was one of several AEW talents to have recently been contacted by WWE since Levesque became Chief Content Officer, which also include FTR, Malakai Black, and other currently unnamed individuals. Speaking of Malakai Black, he got on his Instagram Live late Monday night to launch a tirade directed at, quote, the dirt sheets about his current status in professional wrestling and said he's gotten death threats as a result of rumors that have swirled online. The following does contain strong language.
Those people, they don't care about my mental health. They don't care about your mental health. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about my wife. They don't care. Not one single thing of it is true. So, again, if you were part of this mob that felt the need to even send me death threats, then, well, thank you, Dirt Sheets, because clearly, those people, they don't care about my mental health. They don't care about your mental health. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about my wife. They don't care about my family. They don't give a shit. All they want is dumb clicks for stuff that they're making up, because they're tying bridges between things that are no longer there, that don't exist, because they want that narrative to exist. But again, I'm sure that it will be deemed as tomorrow there will be a different narrative, and tomorrow there will be it'll be oh, we got the wrong information. Oh, we heard it from this. Oh, don't blame us. We're just reporting. No, you're not. A real person will own up to their bullshit. They will own up to their words, and they say, you know what, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. It's on me. Because if the words come out of your mouth, then, own it. Just own it. Anyway, I would like to very much go back to just working on my stuff, working on my private life, working on, getting to the point of, feeling good again.
On September 17th, Black wrestled for Prestige Wrestling and after the match addressed the crowd saying he was going to take some time off and adding, "I promise you this is not goodbye, this is just we'll see each other soon." The next day, Black posted on his Instagram that he did in fact ask for his release from AEW and revealed several reasons as to why, including several out-of-ring events, a nagging injury, and, quote, promises in my professional field that were not upheld. In that same post, Black expressed his frustrations that private conversations between him and AEW were made public and unhappiness over rumors online about his personal life or receiving a conditional release. Turning our attention to ratings, this past Friday's WWE SmackDown on Fox drew its largest viewership since the first empty arena show during the initial stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, averaging 2.535 million people, according to WrestleNomics. The show finished with a .63 in the 18 to 49 demographic, which equates to approximately 819,000 viewers. The highest quarter hour of the night was the fifth, which aired between 9 o'clock and 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time, and it averaged 2.767 million viewers. The segment, which featured Braun Strowman against Otis and a backstage promo from the Brawling Brutes, was up an average of 10% across the board. There was rampant speculation online Friday that SmackDown could feature the return of Bray Wyatt due to the White Rabbit angle WWE is running, but those rumors turned out to be unfounded. Thurston also reported that this past Friday's special 2-hour edition of AEW Rampage from the Arthur Ashe Stadium in Queens, New York, averaged 522,000 viewers with a .17 in the 18 to 49 demographic. The first hour of the broadcast featured the highest total audience for Rampage since this past April 8th and the highest rating in the key demo since April 22nd. The special Grand Slam edition of the program, taped last Wednesday, opened with Sting and Darby Allin defeating Brody King and Buddy Matthews. That match proved to be the show's high watermark, drawing an average of 601,000 viewers and 254,000 in the 18 to 49 demographic. In Outside the Ring news, Ted DiBiase Jr. allegedly witnessed firsthand that former Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant illegally wielded his power by cutting state welfare funding to a nonprofit group because its directors supported the Democratic candidate over the Republican in the 2019 gubernatorial election. That's according to a 2019 unsealed federal court finding that reporter Anna Wolf of the Mississippi Today had petitioned to be released to the public. In the filing, DiBiase alleged Bryant instructed an appointee to slash the funding for the Family Resource Center of North Mississippi due to its director Christy Webb supporting Democrat Jim Hood for the position as opposed to Bryant's lieutenant governor at the time, Tate Reeves. Reeves won the election and would go on to serve 2 terms. On September 22nd, former Governor Bryant pleaded guilty to 2 federal charges, 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 1 count of theft. The Mississippi Today story identified one of the 4 unnamed alleged co-conspirators in the charges against Davis as Ted DiBiase Jr. DiBiase and his father, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, are being sued separately in civil court by the Mississippi Department of Human Services over allegations of welfare fraud. Authorities are attempting to seize the younger DiBiase's lakeside home, which prosecutors say was purchased with some of the $3 million he's been accused of stealing from the state's welfare program. DiBiase Jr.'s brother, Brett DiBiase, a former deputy administrator for the Mississippi Department of Human Services, pleaded guilty in December of 2020 to 1 count of making fraudulent statements for the purpose of committing welfare fraud. According to the Mississippi Today report, the far-reaching scandal resulted in $77 million in federal welfare funds being misspent and has ensnared other notable names such as former NFL quarterback Brett Favre and former NFL running back and short-term USWA wrestler Marcus Dupree. Sports Business Journal reported yesterday that the WWE has partnered with the NCAA's Southeastern Conference to sell custom title belts. The report detailed WWE securing the license to produce custom side plates to be outfitted on the sides of replica championship belts that will feature the logos of all 14 SEC teams, which include the universities of Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, LSU, Missouri, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt. The universities of Texas and Oklahoma will join the conference in 2025. The upcoming partnership with the NCAA comes after Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair appeared on ESPN's College Game Day this past weekend and unveiled the custom belt for Tennessee, which is also being sold on WWE Shop and the Fanatics website for $499.99. WWE has a long history of sending custom title belts to various teams that win major championships and had previously announced in August of 2021 that they were partnering with Major League Baseball to sell team-inspired custom belts. In Ring of Honor news, Tony Khan announced on his Twitter Tuesday afternoon that Chris Jericho will make the first defense of the Ring of Honor Championship on this coming Wednesday's Dynamite against former ROH champion Bandito. The AAA-affiliated luchador defeated Rush for the ROH title in July of 2021 and held the title up until April 1st of this year, where he lost it to Jonathan Gresham. Moving now to Japan, John Pollock of Post Wrestling confirmed with Fight TV on Monday that the streaming service will not be airing the upcoming New Japan Pro Wrestling Royal Quest II events from the United Kingdom. New Japan has chosen not to air the shows live internationally and instead will be offering them exclusively on its own streaming service, New Japan World, later in October. The shows emanating from Crystal Palace National Sports Centre in London this coming Saturday and Sunday will be the first shows in the United Kingdom for New Japan since the first Royal Quest event in 2019. New Japan legends Keiji Muto and Hiroshi Tanahashi will share the ring one last time on October 30th as part of Pro Wrestling Noah's Pro Wrestling Love Forever 3 Triumph Show. Muto, who was a part of New Japan's second generation of talent, which included such names as Masahiro Chono and Shinya Hashimoto, will team with Naomichi Marufuji and Yoshiki Inamura of Pro Wrestling Noah to take on the company's largest fourth-generation star, Hiroshi Tanahashi, along with Togi Makabe and Tomoyoki Honma. The match will likely serve as the semi-main event, leading into Kaito Kiyomiya's GHC Heavyweight Championship defense against another former New Japan second-generation wrestler and former IWGP champion, Kazuyuki Fujita. It will be the first defense of Kiyomiya's second reign, which began this past Sunday. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast, and remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.